Wacha kunyamaza kimya na wajiumiza mwenyewe. Usinyamaze, ongea, ongea.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our today's segment where we're going to discuss menstrual health and hygiene. And the initiative is brought to you by Gender Violence Recovery Center in partnership with the CLFI, which is Canadian Fund for Local Initiative. And with me, I have panelists who are going to take us through the discussion that you're having today. And I'll start with them to do introduction before we get back to the session. I'll start with my far right, Brenda.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brenda Kwach, the Deputy County Coordinator, Water Sanitation and Hygiene in Nairobi County.
Yes, I'm Chris Msonye, Deputy Teacher, St. Jude Educational Center, found in Nairobi. My
name is Winnie Muthoni, Child Protection and Gender Officer, currently working as a social worker in Vicodec, commonly known as Victory Community Development Center, located in Ongata Rongai, Kajiado County.
Thank you so much, and my name is Vincent Kenvin. I'm your host for today. And direct to Brenda, as an expert and as someone working with national government from your field.
National government.
Yes, you said
county government.
County government. From the field of menstrual hygiene, how can you define menstrual hygiene?
Menstrual hygiene is defined as all those practices that people do to ensure that the girl child or the lady manages all the menstrual processes privately, hygienically, and with dignity. So it involves provision, which is availing the sanitary towels, whichever options are available. It involves breaking the silence, which is now dealing with the stigma and the taboos and all that. Then it involves also the disposal component of menstrual hygiene, because we have a big problem with disposal of the one-time use sanitary towels. Mm-hmm. So those are the three main components of menstrual hygiene.
Thank you. Chris, being a male teacher,
Yes.
What is the definition of menstrual hygiene? How do you understand it?
I think scientifically, when you talk about the menstrual hygiene, we talk about the situation or the process where the students or the girls who undergo menstrual hygiene, they are able to have that dignity, ama ule usafi, during the menstrual period.
Winnie, you've told us you come from Kajiado. And being a young girl, what are some of the initiatives that you're doing in Kajiado just to empower girls around menstrual hygiene?
Our main focus area is currently Magadi. It is in Kajiado West, but not only in Magadi area, but also in Ongata Rongai, since it's a slum area. So our main initiative, we have so many of them, but the biggest is the organization that I work with, that is Vicodec. In partnership with other organizations, we have a well-equipped production unit that produces sanitary towels, reusable ones. The pack comes with 8 pads that can help the girl to run for 1 year to 1.5 years. So it means that in this period of time, a girl who's not able to access these sanitary towels can have them for free, because we are partnering with other organizations. They can access them, because we have noticed, in as much as the government wants to give everyone a dignity kit, they cannot be able to do that. So we come in not to compete with the government, rather to complement the government. So that is one of the biggest initiatives we have currently in regards to menstrual health and hygiene. So, yes.
So you organize what you call a pad drive?
Not really. We produce the pads.
You produce the pads.
We produce the pads and then we distribute to the girls.
For free?
Yes, for free.
Good. Chris, you being a male teacher, championing on menstrual hygiene, what are some of the challenges you've experienced as a teacher within your school, and are other teachers supporting you?
I might say that some of the major challenges I'm facing is what you call the culture that our parents have been brought in, because they believe a male teacher cannot be able to handle the issue of menstrual to girls in schools. Number two, my sister talked about the disposal of the sanitary pads after the girls have used it. We get it because in our school we have what we call an incinerator, where after the girls have used the sanitary towel, they're supposed to burn them. Mm-hmm. And some of the community say that our sanitary towel from our girls are not supposed to be burned. They're supposed to be buried. And some of the environment we're coming in, we don't have specific place where we are supposed to bury the sanitary, so it becomes a challenge. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brenda, is this a myth, or how do we call it? Is it something in relation to culture? Because you're being told, he has talked about a disposal of sanitary towel. Some people believe that once a sanitary towel has been used, then you need to burn it. But he is telling us some parents have been interjecting that. What's your opinion on that?
Myths and misconceptions on menstrual hygiene exist, and there are several, and I believe that is one of them. When it comes to disposal, we just want to make sure that we are cutting the link between, because blood is, as we know, it is already infectious. So what we want to do is limit the interaction between that blood and the environment or the next person. So whether you bury it or you burn it, there is not really no effect. So the MHM policy advocates for incineration, burning, microwaving, and all that. So yes, it's a challenge. Most schools don't have incinerators or burning chambers where they can burn the wastes that they produce. So it's a challenge. What we tell them to do is we link them with the examples like Rentoki, where they contract and then the Rentoki guys come and pick the used sanitary towels. So we are also doing private-public partnership with other organizations who provide for them the bins, where once the girl has used the pads, they are dropped in the bin and then it's carried away.
But do you think the government has done enough in terms of pad distribution to schools?
Yeah, the government is trying, and it has laid out guidelines on what to do and how to provide the pads, and that is why, I say public-private partnership is very key when it comes to this, because remember, the government is somehow donor dependent. Mm-hmm. So at times when the funding delays, it poses a challenge. So it's doing its part and also advocating for other players in the sector, like the guys who produce reusable sanitary towels. They are given an enabling environment to produce those sanitary towels and distribute them to the schools. So the government is key on capacity building of especially the teachers, so that they can talk to the girls about menstrual hygiene. So we capacity build them, we train them, so that they know what to do when it comes to menstrual hygiene. MHM has also been incorporated in the curriculum. Mm-hmm. And hygiene, and I think it's social sciences or something. It has been incorporated in the curriculum, so the girls and boys are taught from an early age about MHM. So if provision fails, then there's the other side of education that works, so that I'm informed and educated, and then now I have an array of information I can pick from that and move on.
And Chris,
I'm just worried.
Yes.
Because my sister has talked about something about donor funding. And now, because everybody's crying in our country since the swearing in of the new president of US, mm-hmm. And he said that he's going to cut some of the donation to African states. So please, can you clarify to us now that our girls are going to receive sanitary towels, because if the government has been supporting them and now it is a donation, and now the US is not going to donate it to us. So that means, are we going to miss the school?
In my capacity, I cannot answer that right now. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I cannot answer, because decision makers wako juu. And at the end of the day, in every situation that arises, of course, there are people, technocrats, who sit down and discuss and find the best way forward. Mm-hmm. So I can't categorically say that is also affected, or I can't categorically say that it is not affected. So we will wait for a directive from above.
From Maju,
Yes.
Kutoka uko juu.
Yes.
Chris,
we will try our best. We will try at the local level. At the local level, yes. We try our best to create an enabling environment for people who produce reusable sanitary towels at that level. Like, for example, in Nairobi County, we are working with the Huru International. Mm-hmm. They also make reusable sanitary towels, and they make them in huge numbers, and we give them to girls in schools. And then apart from those are big funders that he's talking about, there are also those small CBOs down at the ground,
the community-based organizations
who we work in collaboration with to do pad drives, like you already mentioned. We do pad drives, and we collect pads and then give it to the most vulnerable girls, especially in the informal settlements.
Okay, but Brenda, these pads, are they only donated in public schools or even private?
For Nairobi County, I would say both. But the government one is public primary schools majorly. It doesn't concentrate on secondary schools. It does public schools majorly.
Okay, Chris, being a teacher doing something on menstrual hygiene, do you always have problems with the boy child in school when you meet girls and talk with them? Do you always experience some of the challenges from the boy child or from the boys?
Okay, from the African perspective of a boy child, tumeambiwa kaa ngumu. African men are not supposed to cry. But I think there's come a period where we are going to cry. Because it comes a challenge. I want to talk about the environment, specifically someone talked about the slum area, where a boy is only having one boxer. So when you talk about providing sanitary towel to the girls, and sometimes when our friends come to school, then we say, can we have girls in our hall? And the boy keeps on asking, teacher, what about us? So I think the boy child has been left out when we talk about the issue of menstrual hygiene.
To
add on that, when you look at menstrual hygiene as a whole, there is breaking the silence pillar of it. So this is where you're going to involve the boy child, you're going to involve men, everybody needs to be involved. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break all the taboos. So what we have done, much as there is this thing people call gender equality and the girl child being vulnerable, and physiologically, yes, the girl child is at a disadvantaged position. So our focus is, if the girl child can get that sanitary towel, and is a saidika, sindio. But if the boy child also can get something when you're doing, because the person who's most disadvantaged is the girl.
Yes.
So if, for example, you want to come up with a program and somebody says, if the boy child is not involved, then we are not doing this. It puts me as the girl child at a disadvantaged point. If, for example, somebody wants to come to school and just has the sanitary pads peke yake, you will not deny them entry, because the boy child feels left out. When these other activities are going on, please include the boy child. You can include them in the fact that when you're having your sensitization sessions, they are part of the people taking part in that conversation. Don't segregate. Don't say, girls, come to the hall, we want to talk about menstrual hygiene, and then you leave the boy child out. That is where curiosity comes in. But if you bring in both of them and talk about menstrual hygiene, and then at the end of the day, you give the girl child that pad, the boy child is still going to support the girl child. If that other additional thing like the boxer and the toothpaste and all that is available, by all means, give it to the boy child. But the focus is on the girl child because physiologically the girl child is disadvantaged.
Okay. I've attended some of the community initiatives, and I've seen some of the organizations, when they are distributing the pads to girls, they also distribute boxers.
Yes, to boys.
Or soap. So when they are giving maybe a girl a dignity kit with a leso, soap, mafuta, kijana mvulana anapewa boxer,
toothpaste, toothbrush, Vaseline.
I've seen some of them doing that, and pia kwa hiyo discussion wanaletwa wote pamoja. Winnie, mkijenga hizi pads, do you always have something for the boys? Munashonanga boxer?
Okay, we don't necessarily make the boxers because we can easily access them in large numbers. Our main focus is the pads, it's the pad itself, but we do give the boys something. I would want to clarify something you've said about not putting them apart. Yes, tuambiane tu kweli. In as much as we want all of them to learn, there are the downsides of these things. Remember, we are talking about dignity. When you put these small girls, for example, for us in Magadi, they have their own culture. We have this rule from where I work. We say it's not our place to change the culture because we don't know why they do the things they do. It is our role to just understand and help where we can and put the information out there. So remember, in a place like Magadi where boys and girls cannot
Don't
even,
mix.
not even boys and girls, men and women, when you're doing the trainings, the men sit there, the women sit there, and you can't even force them to come together. Hata ushinde umewambia, kujeni, they won't. So it will be like you're shouting and you won't. So we end up just separating the groups.
Separating when they are
not-
in the same room or different
No,
rooms?
no, no,
Same
no.
room.
We, for the sake of the dignity bit, because the girls will be more comfortable talking about these things when they are alone. So because our main focus is not boys and girls, sharing their experiences, because boys will always be boys. You'll have to forgive me for saying that. They will always be boys, especially in these teenage ages. They will always make fun of girls, and in as much as you try to give them this information, they will just laugh. They will tell girls, oh, munapewa mikate and everything. It's something we have tried to make it
Does it
stop.
still happen? Because
It does.
I
For
attended one of the
Nairobi,
sessions,
I think
and
it's different.
girls were being given pads and panties.
Yeah.
And even the boys were in that session,
So-
and the boys were saying like, let me also have a pad and a panty to take to my sister.
I think
And they were
what's
part of the
happening.
conversation.
I think what's happening, like she's explaining, Nairobi is cosmopolitan, and Nairobi we are kind of open to almost anything. We are dynamic and we are kind of open. So for her,
In a
culture,
place, yeah.
culture
Where you
and
come
taboos and beliefs are still very,
They are
still
the
deeply
core of
rooted.
these people.
So for them, it's going to be a little. I think that's why I'm confident saying put them together. In fact, mingle them so that they are in the same room, they are seated next to each other, and you're discussing.
But I
so
feel,
for Nairobi,
I feel
it
like
works.
there will always be a gap in as much as we want them to understand these things. What if we try something like, yes, separate them, put them in different rooms, but tell them these things, okay? For example, you've put boys in one room, teach them about menstrual health and hygiene separately, where they are comfortable, where they can share their experiences. They can tell their fellow men that I saw my sister going through this and this and this. Give them this information. But when you put them together, there will always be a gap. In as much as you want to break that gap, there will always be a gap. So I feel like this is something we need to talk more about. This is a discussion that should be taken a bit further, yes, and deeper, because my brother Chris was saying
because it's like you fear mixing girls and boys.
We don't
discussing
fear.
about menstrual hygiene.
It's the culture.
It's not fear
It's
per
the
se.
culture.
It's not even the culture,
I
because
think
we are
I might
also
say-
based in
I think
Rongai.
I might say it's just lack of empowerment, because, for example,
Lack of empowerment.
Yeah, for example, in our schools, we have empowered boys. And boys understand these are their sisters. For example, there was a scenario where a girl started her menstrual in class. And surprisingly, it was a boy who took the sweater and he gave to the girl.
His own sweater.
His own sweater to ensure that the sister is safe. So it is just, am I saying that there is a gap?
Yes.
There is
In
that
terms
lack of
of empowerment.
Yeah.
Winnie, have you encountered any myth, and how did it impact you or someone else that you know?
The myths are so many.
Yes, in
Surrounding.
land administration. Now from the culture where you come from, have
From
you encountered
where-
any myths?
So many of them. The first one being blood is, blood is dirty. Blood is
It's evil.
It's something you can't even talk about. So that has been one major problem, because once a girl knows that blood is impure, blood is dirt, blood is filthy, they are not even able to be confident. They can't even come to schools. It affects further and further, including dropping out of school. They don't even understand what is happening in their body. So that comes with the issue of information. How is this information put out there? But I believe that the biggest one is that it's not even a natural thing. To them, it's something that is very wrong that is happening to them. So I guess that has been the biggest myth.
Question to Winnie.
Yes.
So it means where you work, the environment where you work, it's still a taboo to talk about menstrual hygiene at home or in school.
Everywhere, even the parents cannot. The mother cannot tell the daughter what is actually happening in her body.
Even in today's generation.
Yes. You know, mutanisamehe lakini.
Yeah,
No need to apologize.
Tuna assume everyone has this information, but when you go deep, not even in Magadi, because that is, we will say that is where we work most of the times, but come to Rongai, where we are. It is close to Nairobi. But when you go to those homesteads and you ask a girl, do you know what is happening to your body? They will tell you they don't know. Because this information has not been put out there, they still feel it's a very bad thing to even talk about.
Please, my sister, help me to understand this now. Because after talking about the issue of blood in the area you are working in, and here you are making me to understand you have what we call reusable sanitary pads, where they are supposed to take them and wash them. That's the first question. And number two, you have talked about the area being like an informal settlement. And some of the challenges in informal settlement is lack of water. And so how do you ensure that these girls, or the reusable sanitary pads you are given to girls, they will always be clean? Because you understand the effect of them using the sanitary pads when they're not clean.
So before we give these girls these sanitary towels, we cannot obviously give them chukua. No, we must do an extensive training about how they're going to use these sanitary towels. And because we have already understood that our focus area is in places where they face challenges with clean water, challenges of even lacking the water in as much as it might be dirty, the product itself is able to be used by just the normal water. If you can shower with that water, it means you can wash the sanitary towel with that water. So that we have tried to make it as convenient as possible to that little child who's facing so many other challenges, not just water, because there's also the part of disposal. Because after 1.5 years, they'll be forced to dispose these things. So because it is basically made of cotton and cloth, it is very easy to dispose them. So it comes with a lot of training. It also has a training manual inside. So if we are not there to train you, the manual will train you how to use the sanitary towels.
The acceptance level in Kajiado, because in Nairobi we are facing resistance, very high resistance. Just like he's saying, most of the girls are saying blood. So you give them sanitary towels. If you have reusable and the one-time use, they'll choose the disposable one. Yeah. They'll tell you. So Nairobi, it's kind of a challenge. So what is the acceptance level, Luko?
I would say it's close to 100% acceptance.
What did you do?
Because you see, we're operating in an area where they don't have any other option. Okay? Because if you're talking about the disposable sanitary towels, imagine you have to use, right now, if we are being honest, the cheapest brand of sanitary towels is at 90 shillings, Bob. Okay? Who is able to get 90 shillings? Because depending on the flow you have, it means you'll either use more than a packet in a month. So that approximately comes to around 300 shillings every month. Okay? But when we give you this one, we tell you you can use it for a whole year. Minimum a whole year. You can extend to 1.5 years. It means for 1.5 years, you won't even think about that 300 shillings every month to buy a sanitary towel. So we will say the acceptance is at 100, if not 100, around 99%, because peer preference, people have preferences. They will choose not to use the reusable one.
So the question I might ask you is, because it is a question now, or is the scenario that I've, no, you see, you have given to a family where we're having like 5 girls. And once you have given to these girls that you happen to meet, so it means that these one sanitary towel can be used with the entire family.
Sharing.
Sharing.
Well, hygienically, that is not, it's not even possible. That, I guess that is one of the biggest challenges we have at the moment, trying to convince these girls, because we're also talking about the poverty levels in these areas. People cannot afford these sanitary towels. So when you give this small girl one pack, they will feel the need to share with the sister or even with the mother. True. Not just the sisters. They will feel the need to share with the mother. So what we do is we do what we can. Okay? When we give this girl today, we do not tell them to even share. We can, I don't know, we tell them to, uko na sister moja gawa, take 4, remain with 4, manage with the 4. Yes, this pack comes with 8
And
parts.
when you do the distribution, I'll give you time to show us what is here, because you've been referring to that. When you do the distribution, do you have a data as an institution? And in terms of the same data, can you say that from your institution you've reached many girls in terms of distribution of pads in Kajiado?
Yes, like for instance, last year, 2024, we did distribution to 31,500 students countrywide. But remember, this is not just Vicodec project alone. We have so many other partners that come together because we've shared this dream with so many other people and they have embraced it. Our main focus is providing this sanitary towel. If you as an organization feel like you will tell us to produce
this number,
it for you, we do that wholeheartedly, and then you go and distribute to whatever place you want to distribute it to. So last year we distributed 31,500. This year it is intended to go a bit higher to around 35,000.
Do you also do for women or only girls?
It is fit for everyone, but the main focus is girls.
Brenda, with the myths that Winnie mentioned, don't you think that some of the myths she mentioned affects girls' confidence and education?
Yes, it does, because the myths and misconceptions, if you keep telling them these myths and misconceptions and then you do not break those myths, they tend to internalize this thing. If every time a boy comes and tells you, hey, you're in your periods, you're dirty, every time you keep telling me that, so every time I'm on my period, I will not come to school. Because if I come to school, I'll be like, hey, si ataniambia. So that leads into high absenteeism and then impacts on your performance, which we do not want. So that's why we're working so hard to make sure that we break myths and misconceptions. Whatever myths that are there, you put them in a room, both boys and girls, and it's very interesting when you put both of them in the room. The boy child will tell you what myths they think about, and the girl will also tell you. So in those sessions, you break those myths so that the girl's confidence itapanda, because atajua anytime I'm on my P, it's not a big deal. The boy child will know it's something normal na atani support, hata ni kejeli.
So you put them in a session, you listen, then at the end of the day you tell us, this has been said, but this is how it is.
Yes, you give now the correct information.
Okay, Chris.
Yes.
Have you ever come across any discriminatory issue in school between maybe a boy and a girl in regards to menstrual hygiene?
Yeah, initially
you've given us an example of a girl who began his menstruation, and then we had a boy who took over the pullover and wrapped her. So have you come across any discriminatory cases in
initially
school?
We had those issue of where boys could discriminate girls and even talk ill about them. But through our friends, we invited our friends who came and talked to them, and they understood that this is healthy. It is part of their life. So up to now, we don't have them. But initially they were there. So we had to do what we call creating empowerments to boys. Yeah.
So to also help answer that, through the school health clubs, which is pegged in the school health policy, the schools are expected to have school health clubs, and these club sessions are once a week in every school. So during those sessions, you pick on a topic and then you talk to both the girls and the boys. And it really changes how the boy child looks at MHM and how the boy child looks at a girl when she's in her menses. We make it so easy, so much so that we encourage the girl child akiwa na in her menses imempata abruptly, don't fear to go to the male teacher because you think the male teacher is going to discriminate or stigmatize you. So we involve both male and female, and it works very well.
Okay. Now that you've mentioned policies, can you highlight some of the policies around menstrual hygiene and sexual reproductive health rights?
For menstrual hygiene, we have the MHM, Menstrual Hygiene Management Policy, 2019-2030. And then we also have the School Health Policy, which has a component of menstrual hygiene management. For reproductive health, there are a myriad of them.
Okay. Yeah. And in terms of implementation, you want to intervene or add something? Yes.
Now that you're talking about policies, I feel like that it infuriates me. It makes me very angry when we are out here talking about policies this, policies that. But how many people
can
get
see you
to
become emotional.
how many people get to see or even to know that these policies exist?
No,
do you tell these girls that these policies are here?
Yes, like during the sessions, especially when we are doing school health patrons trainings, we carry both the MHM policy and the school health policy, and we take them through all the content of the school health policy and the MHM policy. Are you aware where the MHM policy was launched last year?
No.
It will be launched na huko saidi ya kwenu. So we need to so then again, we now again need to do a lot of awareness creation on the policies. The policies are there. The only problem is implementation. The other problem is the different counties have not cascaded the policy. Yes, national government develops very nice policies, and we have a lot of policies. And in fact, I feel it's normally about time now we stopped coming up with new policies because they are there. The only problem is implementation. It is not well implemented. The county governments are aware that these policies are there, but they have not cascaded this policy to suit their scenarios. And then probably again, because the county governments have not cascaded these policies, it's again going to be hard for ule mtu ako chini kwa ground to go and advocate for a policy that if at the county level, you're not even aware it happens. For Nairobi County, we are lucky because the people at the management level are aware that these policies are there. So when they go out there to do sensitization, especially for the school health patrons, we make sure that we bring a copy, or if we can't bring a copy, you tell them where to go to so that they can download the copy of the MHM and the school health policy.
But now, Brenda, do you think there is something that can be done for these policies to be implemented? That's why Win is getting emotional.
What can be done is now cascading of the policies, because the policies already exist.
Because you have policies on paper,
yes,
but when it comes to implementation
is the problem. So implementation is the problem. Why? Because one, like I have said, the counties have not cascaded. The one that the national government makes is to guide everybody else. Then from there, you contextualize it to your own county. Like for example, the ASAL counties, we have a problem with do I call it procurement or whatever? Probably the government will decide, yes, the school health policy or the MHM policy says we need to distribute this. Then procurement issues makes it a problem so that haiwezi fika for whatever reason, for some reason. But if that county by itself have contextualized the policy and made sure that it is implemented, we will not have a problem. So implementation is a problem probably because of lack of funds, because maybe we don't understand those policies, but the policies exist.
Okay, so yes, they are just there.
The policies are there. So it is now, again, there is systemic problems and there is individual problems. Systemic problems, there is not so much we can do about the systemic problems, but an individual's problem.
But looking at menstrual hygiene, do you think even the people that sit down to come up with these policies, is it a waste of time? Because
no, it's not.
How do you come up with something that we cannot implement as a country?
See, me who sits down to come up with a policy, it means I have already identified there's a problem. There's a problem that needs to be sorted. For it to be sorted, we need a framework of how it's going to be sorted. So whoever sits down to come up with these policies, it's not that they lack other things to do or they lack whatever, however you're putting it. Those policies are there to guide us. They're there to make sure that whatever goal that we are looking at is implemented. Problem comes when it comes to implementation, which we all know. Kuna kuwaga na shida when it comes to implementation.
So looking at the future, what do you think can be done? for implementation to take place as someone working at the county?
I will
Mimi
again,
niko huku chini.
Yes.
But you see wewe unaweza sema pale juu, kuna hii policy tukiimplement ama tukifanya hivi itasaidia wasichana pale mashinani. So looking at the future, what do you think we can do?
okay, that's a nice
Because
one.
we can't be having policies and then we
And
come
yet
and say
Implementation
we are not
is the
implementation
problem.
is the
So
problem.
find
We'll
out,
keep on saying
find,
that.
yes,
Or
so
the
we
police
need
are gathering dust in the
in the
Yeah.
offices. So
county
now,
offices.
it's again, like I was saying, contextualize the policies. National government wamefanya kazi yao. It's like, for example, I'll give a very bad example. A dad has gone out there, ameenda katafuta, akaleta nyama. Ukaenda ukachukua ukaweka nyama kwa fridge. Haujaitoa kuipika. Whose problem is it? Sini sisi. So it is us who are supposed to remove that nyama from the fridge, katakata it, pika, weka kwa meza watu wakule. So again, the bulk of the big responsibility lies with the county. The county leads. If they don't contextualize it and make sure that it is implemented the way it is supposed to be implemented, there is no monitoring framework. There is no interest in just getting to know that has this thing been implemented or not, we will still have a problem.
So we have people who are sleeping in their job. Definitely. Winnie, you kept on referring to the bag that is on this table. So kindly, can we know what is inside? If they are menstrual hygiene products, and what are they, and how should we go about them?
Before I even
Or
share
is
this,
acceptable for me to handle it?
Chris, do you have anything to say about the policies?
I think we have heard about the policies.
Okay, so we
But
leave it at that point.
no implementation.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we should push for implementation.
Implementation,
actually,
yes.
So that means something need to be done.
True.
Especially, it starts with you people who are in the menstrual hygiene field.
What we can advocate for, we can advocate for is once the national government has rolled out those policies. Now, I think we need again to push the national government to make sure that every county has cascaded the policy and every county is implemented. Like the national government should now be the overall supervisor. Yes, we have cascaded it, and then they should go to all those counties and tell them, like she's saying, that there are some people who don't even know that the policies are existing. So again, once the national government has developed these policies, yes, they've rolled them out, but there's somebody in some county who has no idea that this policy was implemented or this policy was created. So it's again up to, I would suggest, national government to do the supervisory role of going to every county and making sure that every county knows that this thing exists, every county understands it and cascades it.
Okay, if I may ask a question to my sister.
Please.
You see, you are implementing or you are making policies for the children in schools. But are children aware of these policies? Were they involved in? Or the only policies that are being made at the top, and then the children are being taught to implement? Because
follow these.
the children have their right to even contribute to that policy, say this is not favoring us. Do you know that we
The
have
policy-
the children's president in Kenya?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
the
now,
children
when
president in Kenya.
when the policies are being formulated, it's not a one-man affair and it's not a two-day affair. It's a whole process, and everybody who has a stake in that policy is always involved. A policy takes a very long time to formulate, so they will start by identifying the problem, taking views from the stakeholders, all of the stakeholders, and then sitting down and synthesizing it and coming up with something that. So the leaders of those the organizations or the institutions that you're talking about, yes, they were involved
I
and they
think
were aware.
Chris' concern is we're talking about girls. When we're making decisions pale kwa meza, do we consider these young girls also to come
Yes.
and share
Not
their
even
ideas?
Through the teachers.
Through the
Even
teachers?
when you are
teachers.
launching, are
It
you
was
launching
launched-
it in a hotel?
It was launched
or
in
are
a
you
school.
launching in a public place where we can be able to access?
The
Okay.
menstrual hygiene policy was launched in a school.
In
Because
one
it's
of the
meant for
schools
schools,
in
yes.
Nairobi.
In one of the schools in Kenya, because it's ni document ya Kenya.
Okay.
So it was launched in a school. And
But,
the participants were
was it
teachers.
cascaded to the counties?
No, that's
Or
where
it
the
was
problem
just
is. Now
launched
that
at the
is
national
now
level,
that is
but
where
we
the
did
problem
consider the
is.
county.
Are
Now
you getting
that
the
is where the
information?
problem
It
is.
was launched in one of the school, and the participants, the main key stakeholders, are teachers.
And children. No, that's not what I have said. You have missed. I said learners, right? I said pupils. You missed the point.
So the participants were pupils who were
Yes.
girls, right?
Both of them.
Okay, mixed.
Male and female.
Winnie, Take us through some of the menstrual hygiene products that you might be aware, and how should we, for someone at the grassroots who is watching this, yes.
The existing ones?
Yes, the existing ones.
There are so many of them.
And what is inside here, because you kept on referring to
yes,
this thing.
I will start with
yes.
Yours.
Actually, what you donate to girls. This is the package that you give to girls.
Yes, normally it comes with, as I had said earlier, it comes with 8 sanitary towels, 2 holders, and 2 bags to put the soiled pad. So it is, I'll just show you an example. This is the pad. It is a very beautiful pad.
So this is what you call reusable.
Yes, this is reusable. It means you can use it again and again and again and again. And then we were talking, Chris had asked about the issues of water and hygiene. The material is very soft. I guess you will touch. It is very soft and very friendly. So it means...
Chris, did you wash your hand? Because these things are always sensitive. Or this one is just for this show.
This one is
for this show. Okay.
So this pad is very friendly to even the girl herself. So even when you're washing, it doesn't need a lot of water. I believe this glass of water would be enough to soak the pad and remove before now you wash it. You can wash it with just the normal soap. It is made in a way that any person can use it. Even the poorest of people can use the pad. So this is an example of...
Do you use this one or you use the other one?
I have used it.
Okay. You have?
I can
use it?
Right now, I cannot be able to use it, not because it is bad, but because there are so many other options. We do not put aside that I can use any product. Okay, so but yes, I have used it. I can use it even now.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have a question?
I have a question to my sister.
In regards to that.
So after observing this sanitary towel, and now we have talked about funding are being cut off, what are the mechanisms we are putting in place so that we can be able to produce ours?
So that you can be able to produce yours.
Okay, if I may put in the way, what are your plans if we are having, because I believe you are not the only one.
Yeah, there are so many. There are so many other.
Do you have any plan to support them financially so that they can be able to produce?
The government creates enabling environment and advocates for whoever wants to come up with such products because of safeguarding the environment and all that. And so it gives you, if you're innovative enough and you want to come up with this, it will give you an enabling environment and you will come up with this.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. You see, I might be willing to make it. And let me take, for example, how many girls did you supply last year?
31,500. But before you ask that,
yes,
I want to tell you, we also train other people to make these sanitary towels. We have TOTs, training of trainers. We train other people to make these organizations at whatever level. Yes, at whatever level they are at. So if you want your school to learn how to make them, you can see me.
Learning is not a problem. But my question is
funding.
Because I believe at least there is some input here that you need to, and someone probably is willing. And the question will be, how will I be able to get, because I can see there is a machine here. So
yeah, this is not a machine now, Chris.
There is a machine involved in stitching it.
Yeah.
So Winnie, this means you have to take people through how kukanyaga charani.
Yes.
Kufanya, because it's so delicate.
It's like tailoring.
Like she kwangu hivyo, Chris. I think the results will be held as well, right? But if I'm not wrong.
Okay, there's a lot behind this sanitary towel. I wish I would have a session to
teach people about this
thing. Explain it so extensively, because the people who make these sanitary towels are parents to girls who cannot afford these sanitary towels. So it is also an empowerment project to empower women, and not just women, because the production unit also has men who make these sanitary towels. So we have brought everyone for them to feel like they have a share in ensuring that the girls have whatever they need during this period they are going through their menses.
So to
Now,
answer,
if,
to answer Chris, I would throw in something very. You should not record it with me. So I would tell him if he is interested in making such, you can always write proposals. You can always write proposals
As
and
a
share
school?
it and share it out there. And you who knows, you will get funding. And like for example, for you wrote a proposal and then threw it out there, and somebody got interested and funded you. So if you are interested, talk to her and come up with a proposal.
Yes. Winnie, at some point, do you sell this or just give it for free in Kajiado?
It depends with whoever is coming to us. If we are partnering, we obviously can't give you the
For
pads
free.
for free.
Yeah.
Ati we shika to go and
At a
pay.
cost.
No,
So you will sell for me?
You
At a
will come as
subsidized
an
cost.
organization, tell us, we want you to make us this number of pads. We will produce the pads because majorly it is the production bit that we do. So when other organizations come, like for example, the main partner currently is Kenya Works. They tell us, produce us this number of sanitary towels. We produce them, we give them, they have their target areas. They go and distribute the pads. So that is basically what we do. Production at its best in numbers. So it depends. Chris, if you want some for your girls,
You should reach out.
Yeah, I will write a proposal.
Good. I attended one of the sessions in Nairobi for girls, and in Siaribu. This thing I had, so hii ni kibeti yake inaingizwa ndani.
No. This is the holder. So this one goes to the panty. So you lock it.
Just put it. Si ulisema hii ni ya hii
Demonstrate.
session? Just
Siogopi
demonstrate.
kudemonstrate.
Then I asked a question.
Okay. So it is very convenient because when you go to the loo, you don't remove the whole thing. You just remove the pad, you put the other one. So it is very convenient.
And then
Yes.
it doesn't
Okay. So my
erase.
question is, I was in one of the session and someone came with this reusable some exact like this one. And girls were like, hii sasa itashika suruali kwe nono, ujaiva, ufanye nini? Have you heard of such?
As I said, preference. People have preferences. Talking from a girl's perspective, and you'll forgive me for throwing these brands out here, you'll find one girl is very comfortable using soft care, for instance, and you'll find another one is very comfortable. You asked about the
Options.
available products girls can use during this time. There's someone who will say, you know what, Mimi, I'm not comfortable wearing pads. I will wear tampons. And you can't tell them that this one is bad, ama this one is better than this one. So we look at the convenience, one, the affordability. Are they able to afford these things that are available in the market? And also, are they comfortable? So in as much as it is available to girls, some of them will say, I'm not comfortable using it, and we won't beat them because the key is not to make them use kuwa force ati lazima mtumie hii. No, we just want to make this product available to people who cannot be able to afford.
them.
Yes.
Okay. So
To add on that, that is why when you're having those sessions, again, I'm very big on awareness creation. When you're having those sessions, you teach them about all the available options, but you don't mention brands. So you will say, for example, you will say, kuna disposable sanitary towels. Then you bring one that is not branded, and then you practically show them how to use them. Ni wao wenyewe ndio watakwambia, oh, kama nani, kama hii. That's one, the disposable ones. The reusable ones include this one. It's just a pad, but it's reusable. There is the tampon that is inserted and then it absorbs the blood. And then there is the menstrual cup that unaingiza ikija. But for girls, for the young girls, we do not advocate for them using those ones that they insert. We give them options of this and the other one because of, again, physiological issues.
moving forward, as the county government, what do you have in place for girls as far as menstrual hygiene issues are concerned?
As far as for Nairobi County, we are organizing capacity building sessions for the school health patrons on MHM. We are capacity building, yes, where you train the teachers on menstrual hygiene management in schools.
Chris, have you heard that?
We were with him in his school, training him.
Ah, and you are here asking her questions like you've never met. Yes.
And then we also we have the 17 sub-counties, we have 17 officials who go to those schools to do hygiene promotion sessions in schools to the pupils. And then we do intensive resource mobilization as a government. We do, apart from ile ya national government yenye inakuja, we also at our level at Nairobi County, we also do intensive resource mobilization and give these pads to schools. And just before this, I talked to him, nikamwambia akuje kwa ofisi, akuje achukue sanitary towels for wasichana wake. Yes, so that's our mandate.
Mnawapea reusable ama disposable?
Ata decide, we have both.
Ni anachagua kama mwalimu.
Yes,
for the entire school?
Again, yes, for all the 105, is it 105 girls or 100 and something girls?
Nothing for the boys?
As it is, I've only managed for
girls. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So again, like he said, preference, he has to choose which one will work best for setup yake. And then the other thing we are doing again is advocating for implementation of the policy. Like we said, we want to make sure Nairobi County is the first one to cascade this, to contextualize the school health policy. So we also again pushing so that we can contextualize the MHM policy, so that whatever it is that people do down here, we have made it work for us, so that that girl is empowered by being given the part. And then apart from that, we are also mobilizing for rehabilitation of sanitary facilities, because we know without a proper sanitary facility, again the girl child will feel ile choo sijui inakuaga aje, wacha nikae shule nikimaliza nitae. So we are focusing on capacity building, we are focusing on creating awareness, we are focusing on the infrastructure, which is availing soaps. We train teachers and school health patrons on how to make soap at the school level, so that they don't have to buy, because soap and water and cleaning of these sanitary towels come in hand.
Thank you guys for problem mwenye anatuona pale mashinani. Feel free to reach out from the number 0800 720 565 0800 720 565. Leave your comments at the comment section and we'll be good to go. Your parting shot, Winnie.
I would like to first allow me, Brenda, to use you as a reference, because now you're in the government. I would like you to let this information get to these girls. Don't deal. Okay, you can go through the teachers, yes, but let them know that these policies are there to help them. Not only the girls, let the parents know.
We do community, the same thing we do in school.
Yes,
in the community.
Some of them, Nairobi is lucky they have you because you're doing that. Kajiado, I don't think they are lucky enough to have those people who go to the parents, but also we would understand because of the cultural hindrances in between. But let these policies get to whoever they were intended to get to. Let them not just be, copies that are existing. Let these people know that they're existing. Also, I would call for people to collaborate, join hands, because as I said when we were starting, we are not competing. We are all here to help that one girl who's unable to help herself. So instead of competing at they are disposable ones, they are reusable ones. Why can't we make both of them available and allow the girls to choose whatever it is that they are comfortable to use? So competition does exist, but my final words will be, let us not compete for these things. Let us come together, join forces for the sake of that girl who's unable to put her voice out there. Let her know that someone somewhere cares about her enough to make everything so easy for her. And when we're talking about girls, we want them to be confident enough to come to school, to get educated, and eventually go back to where they came from and help their families, not to move them to come to Nairobi where it is much easier, but they can stay wherever they are and grow from wherever they are. So yes, let these policies get down there.
Thank you. Hapo kwa policies.
Sana.
It's a big
Hapo kwa
problem,
policies na Winnie. Chris, your parting shots.
Yes, you have always told us that education is the equalizer.
Yes.
It is my prayer that our girls will be able to receive parts in schools and have education. Number two, we only allegation that the girls receive parts while they're in school.
We allege.
Yes, but during the holiday, remember we have just been out like for 80 days while they receiving sanitary towels. So my request is that the government should work with the nearest
Into the community.
NGOs, communities, to provide sanitary towels even to our girls during
the
the
community.
So the government, the county government, should cascade, the term that Brenda have used in this session, all through, should cascade the distribution of or should work closely with the community-based organizations to help reach out schools with the donation of sanitary
not
towels.
even schools, our
During-
girls
during
during the
During the holidays.
I have a friend of mine who sometimes walk from door to door in Kibra, giving sanitary towel to girls. So imagine kama angepata support from the government.
Kibra is doing very well because Kibra have, I think, one of the best pad drives in Nairobi.
Connect that with your parting shot.
My parting shot would be menstrual hygiene matters matter.
Menstrual
Hygiene matters matter.
And all this is brought to you by Gender Violence Recovery Center in partnership with CLFI, which is Canada Fund for Local Initiative. For this session, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for the nice session that we've had here, and may God bless you till we meet again. Thank you.
Omniaje, umejiuliza we, hakuna haja kunyamaza kimya na wajiumiza mwe.